You know what's very important? What's important is that we have real journalists that are not skewed or colored by others, by super PACs, that are not colored by those people who they think they owe something to, etc. It was great. It was wonderful watching Ryan Grimm, the Intercept DC bureau chief, and how he handled one of America's largest blowhards, Ted Cruz. You know, of course, the big issue right now is Israel, Hamas, the genocide that's occurring in Gaza right now, etc. And it was interesting because Ted Cruz is trying to come out and attack the squad, attack those people who are trying to simply look for the humanity in this whole war, trying to ask Israel ceasefire. Let's go ahead, and this needs to be negotiated down. As Obama would say, there's blood on everybody's hands. Let's calm it. Let's stop the killing. Let's stop the destruction of people's homelands, etc. Well, of course, I guess Ted Cruz thought when he was being interviewed by Ryan Grimm, somehow he forgot that this isn't just standard mainstream media that allows you to say at will, don't interrupt you as you are making a horrendously bad point to make sure context is maintained. Well, you know what? He got caught. He was up against Ryan Grimm. Watch what Ryan Grimm did and how he did it. And in the process of doing it, well, let me let you listen to it and then we'll take it on the other side.
Here is part of his exchange with journalist Ryan Grimm.
Members of the squad have tweeted out from the river to the sea. But the answer, I'd allow him to say it, but I wouldn't sit there quietly. I'd point out that you are calling for, once again, the extermination of millions of Jews.
As I'm sure you know, though, in Likud's platform, it says, from the river to the sea, there will only be Israeli sovereignty. Are they suggesting genocide of all Palestinians?
Of course not.
Exactly. So if they're not, why is the other suggesting genocide?
Because that's what Hamas supports.
We've had Defense Minister Gallant. We will eliminate everything. An IDF spokesperson. Our focus is on damage, not on precision. Another former Knesset member. There is one and only solution, which is to completely destroy Gaza before invading it. I mean destruction, like what happened in Dresden and Hiroshima without nuclear weapons. Would you join us in condemning that as well?
So I condemn nothing that the Israeli government is doing. I stand with the people of Israel.
Ryan Grimm is now out front. He's the Washington bureau chief for The Intercept. He's also the author of The Squad, AOC and the Hope of a Political Revolution, a new book which is out today. And Ryan, I want to ask you about something crucial that you say in there. But first, that interview with Senator Cruz. And I hope people will watch the whole thing. It's a really fascinating exchange. At the end, you heard his unequivocal support there, right? That he refused to condemn any actions of Israel or the rhetoric that you quoted. Talk to me about that moment. What did that say to you when you were sitting there having that exchange with him?
I thought at least he would condemn some of the things that the Israeli government had already condemned. Like, you don't have to get in front of them. Like, for instance, the minister who floated the idea of nuking Gaza was roundly rebuked by other members of the Netanyahu cabinet. So it was striking to me that Cruz couldn't even go as far as members of the very far-right Netanyahu cabinet. And I was just trying to, in that interview, find some common moral plane because, anytime you have anybody on who's remotely critical of Israel, the interview starts with, will you condemn what Hamas did on October 7th? Today is December 5th. We're still having news cycles organized around that question from 2 months ago. So then it follows that, well, let's also get on the same moral level and condemn the kind of collective punishment of Palestinians as well. And then we can talk about a way forward. But he wouldn't go there. And that was kind of, once he didn't, you're like, okay, well, if you condemn nothing, then there's nothing I can tell you that's going to move.
Now, here's what's important. Notice when Rand Grimm said, hey, Remember that the Likud party's platform says from the river to the sea, all of Israel. And then he pointedly asked the question to Ted Cruz, does that mean that that's what the Likud party want to do, genocide on the Palestinians? Oh, no, that's not what they want to do, because, Ted Cruz knew that same statement is found inside of the Likud's platform. But that's not where Ryan Grim ended it. He did a very smart thing. He then started to itemize genocidal behaviors that right-wing Israeli politicians said they were for or wanted to do. Nuking Gaza, not worrying about civilian casualties, just blowing everything up. And statement after statement, we've gone through many of those here at Politics Done Right. So what Ryan Grim showed Ted Cruz was, these are all the things that the right-wing Israelis has said they do. How isn't that genocide? Isn't that something that you must condemn, given that you want to condemn any progressive or one of the squads who make that statement about, about river to the sea or whatsoever? And Ted Cruz, without thinking twice, he had a slight pause. And what was his answer? I support absolutely everything Israel does. End of discussion. You made your point at that point. You understand where he stood. He didn't stand with humanity. He didn't stand with decency. He didn't stand with morality. He stood with whatever Netanyahu does, it's okay with me. No matter what he does. That should send shivers through the rest of the world.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.